guest today is Yaniv Grinblat. He's the head of business development at Bridgify, a hospitality tech company that's making it easier for hotels to provide and book more personalized travel experiences for their guests. Today's hotel guests are not just a head in a bed. It's simply not that easy anymore. You've got to win over every guest every day, and seamlessly driving additional revenue in a meaningful way is how the best hotels will emerge going forward. Yaniv shares great information about how Bridgify works and how hotels can improve the experiences of their guests by connecting them with attractions that most don't even know exist. I know this is going to sound like a sponsored episode, but believe me, it's not. It's just simply that the opportunity to engage your customers in a more meaningful and personalized way is a huge opportunity worth exploring. So let's get to it. This is episode 35 of the Proven Principles podcast. Yaniv Grinblat on how personalization can drive more revenue. Enjoy. Yaniv, thanks for being on the show, man. It's great to have you.
It's great being here, Adam.
Yeah, it's so you're actually my first recording of 2021.
Oh,
very wow. First one. Yeah. So we're 5 days in. I guess I've been slacking. I've been taking it easy. So thanks. It's great to have you. And I think what we're talking about today is something that I have spent a lot of time over the last probably 9 months trying to dial in myself and trying to help other hotels with, which is finding new sources of revenue. And it's always important. I mean, every hotelier knows that they need to, I mean, that's a big driver. Always trying to get either increased ADR, more spend in the restaurant, more higher share of wallet just throughout the property. But you are with a company called Bridgify that is taking a different tactic to this, which is the reason I wanted to have you on the show today. So before I just launch into a big, long preamble about the show, why don't you just kick it off and tell everybody a little bit about who you are and who you work for and what you guys are doing.
So hello to all the listeners. My name is Yaniv. I'm head of business development at Bridgify. We're a travel tech startup based in Tel Aviv, Israel. And we developed a white label solution that helps hotels to deliver their guests a better experience, a continuous experience with fully personalized itineraries. And by doing that, we help them to unlock ancillary revenue based on tours and activities bookings.
It's an interesting space to be working in because so many hotels, I mean, for a long time, they prided themselves on having concierge desks that would do a lot of that for them, right? So what's the space that Bridgify is trying to occupy when it comes to this side of the business?
So, the year is 2021 and the hospitality industry is very old-fashioned. The concierge is something that I don't think it's something suitable for the Gen Z or also the Y. Some people need the personal touch and the assistant, and in my opinion, it's like decreases and decreases. Mm-hmm. We're trying to fill the vacuum of the modern people, which working with this thing that called the smartphone. Mm-hmm. Just for you to know that 73% of the online travel, online booking of tours and activities are made online. Mm-hmm. It's not something that the concierge can help cover. And I think this is the space where we are entering to fill the blank and to help the hotels to enjoy this cake called tours and activities bookings, and to unlock ancillary revenue.
I think it's, it's pretty powerful. So how does it work then? Just from it kind of walk me through the use case. So how would a guest take advantage of this when they're booking a room? And then how does the hotel benefit from the guest booking whatever tourism activity it is that the guest is booking when they stay at the hotel? How does that work?
So there is the traveler problem. We call it the traveler problem. The traveler problem is that these days there are too much information about any destination you like. Top 10 restaurants, top 10 things to do with kids, without kids, anything. When we book a room or a flight, we start an exploration process, which covers the first 3 pages in Google, the like 5 groups on Facebook, also some PDFs on WhatsApp from our wife or friends, etc., etc. But most of this information is not personalized for the traveler. It's like, common things and stuff like that, but it's not personalized. And this is the first problem that we're trying to solve. To learn about the trip, the destination itself, and to learn about the traveler. And by doing that, we're helping to will we personalize all the offerings that we have for the traveler. And now the second problem that I would like to talk about is the hotel problem. By doing all the personalization part, we believe that we increase the conversion. By increasing the conversion, we also improve the guest satisfaction, and by doing that, guest satisfaction is improving the ratings. Ratings, of course, is more money eventually, and also by every booking made within the app, the hotel receive the margins.
Okay. It's an interesting way to approach personalization because you're taking more than just what kind of coffee I want in my room, how many towels I want in my room, what my favorite beverage is, and you're expanding it out to the destination. It's more about when you go to, when people go to Tel Aviv, there's the big tourist attractions that if you've never been to Tel Aviv before, you have to go see. But after you see that and you're there for a week, there's a lot of other things that are off the beaten trail that many people won't know about because they don't go to the 25th page on Google to find what other interesting things there are to see and do there. And so that's how you create those emotional connections with the destination, right? It's those little individual things you never would have experienced because you don't really know where to dig.
It's the things that it's the hidden gems, the local community knowledge things, the low keys, the things that only by crawling and scraping a local community Facebook group, you can know that there is a dog parade at 4 p.m. in the neighborhood.
Yeah, that was my next question is, so how do you go about, and you alluded to it, so thank you for that, for leading into it, but how do you go about finding these different experiences that people can have when they go to a destination? But then the second part to that question is, how do you connect what's relevant to the traveler for what you found?
So we have 2 layers of personalization. The first of learning about the traveler. Sorry, the first part is learning, by understanding his dates of traveling and his destination and the group size, with kids, without kids, maybe the nationality also. This is the first part. The second part of the learning is made when the traveler is already converted into the app, and he has like 2 up to 4 big data questions. What is your preferred pace of traveling? See it all, or maybe laid back? This is the first one. Another question is, what are your interests? Maybe historical site, religious, water sports, nature, etc., etc. We have it all. By connecting all the dots, we learn about also what is trending these days in the destination, and we put it on the front. And also we use machine learning and AI technology, so it's developing all the time. You can see what people are booking, which attractions they stay the most, maybe 1 hour, maybe 20 minutes, what are the conversions. So we develop ourselves all the time.
So it's like almost like a crowdsourcing of what is interesting about what's going on in a specific posts.
Exactly. Hashtags from trending hashtags from Instagram and Facebook helps us learn more about what's hot in the destination itself.
Yeah. Has I have to ask the obvious question about this? Has COVID affected I mean obviously the travel space and that, but more about like do okay, I get to the point of the question. I can see a scenario where a guest books a stay at a hotel and then they book an attraction. And sometimes the guest, if they're booking an attraction through the reservation process or through the hotel, it's hard for the guest to differentiate between what is a hotel service and what's an outside service. And if the outside service is negative, that can reflect poorly on the hotel. So have you guys gone through have you guys gone through do you go through a vetting process to find it more about like not just relevant experiences but like safe experiences and make sure that they're valid providers and that if there's any COVID restrictions going on that they're following them? I mean, that's the big thing these days. Hopefully that goes away one day, but those issues of safety and relevance at a deeper level are going to remain.
So our sources of data are the largest inventories of tourism and activities in the world, such as Viator, Get Your Guide, Amusement, Sport 360, Wingly, Dugo, etc., etc. We have many of them. And we have our internal processes of quality assurance. And what do I mean internal processes? The first one is, we can filter, we can take all the database and filter it by the location first, and then filter it by ratings from TripAdvisor or Google Maps. So we can decide that everything is rated more than 4.8 will be on the front. And so this is the first part. Like there are many kind of filters, but this is the important ones. The second part is because of the COVID, we have many changes in the database, of course, and many businesses were shut down, unfortunately. So, when a business or attraction is shut down, so the last person or a company that will update is the Viator or Get Your Guide. Yeah, so these days we need to make sure that before we launch an app for one of our customers, we have checked that all the data is valid, the phone numbers, the opening hours, the address didn't change, and that the business is still working.
Mm-hmm. So you constantly have to update the database.
Yeah. Our database is updated real time, but we're making manual checks to make sure because, eventually we're a content supplier, so we can't fall in this.
Yeah. What are some of the trends? I'm curious to know that you've seen in because you're a global company, right? You've got hotels all over. Are you seeing any trends emerge on attractions or what's interesting people in maybe booking one location over another, or one city or one country over another?
I think that's an hard question because 2020 wasn't a good year to measure things or to receive valid data. So we can't really rely on it, and most of the year no one actually traveled. So
right, yeah. Hopefully that changes this year. Fingers crossed. So I want to just get to the point. I think that a lot of hotels are going to be most interested in this is their ability to earn some margin on booking the tourist attraction for the guest, or the guest booking the tourist attraction through the hotel. How does that work on a bit of a deeper level? So you mentioned at the start you're a white label software solution. Where does that live in the the booking process for a hotel? Is that something that is an overlay over the booking website for the hotel? Is that a separate site that the hotel has to then direct guests to go to? I guess what I'm trying to get to is how seamless is the experience on the hotel side? Because, I imagine, if it's not that seamless, there could be a lot of breakage, and, the hotel maybe not achieve the amount of revenue that they're hoping to gain. How does that look on the back end?
So let's start from the first integration process that is seamless for the hotel. Mm-hmm. The hotel, all they need to give us is the colors and the logo, and it's depends what kind of what is their communication channel with their guest, to understand how can we communicate with their guest, and that's all about the integration process. And day-to-day operations, it's definitely it's all automatically. So we don't want to provide another software for the hotel that they will have to put a man on it and to recommend on things maybe, or to receive insights and analyze data. Mm-hmm. That's why we founded this company.
Yeah, I like it. A lot of times that person doesn't exist anymore, so it's got to be easy to use and seamless, and not take a lot of man hours, for sure. I think this is great. I think this is an opportunity for hotels to leverage booking local attractions and gaining additional revenue in a way that, admittedly in the hotel space, we haven't done a good job of. And usually, truthfully, a lot of the time that commission went straight to the concierge when they booked something for the guest, and the hotel didn't benefit at all. And these days, finding additional sources of revenue is what's going to keep the doors open so that people can still have jobs. This is a much bigger conversation than just scraping the 35th page on Google. There are real tangible benefits for properties to go out and look for interesting solutions like this to drive that additional revenue. It's just going to make things a lot better, more holistic for the property.
Exactly. And it's another opportunity to engage with your guest, Mm-hmm. I heard the phrase that from an old hotelier that I know, he said that these days a guest is not just head in the bed, Have you ever heard it?
I have. Yeah. Heads in beds. Yep.
Yeah. So these days you have to, in order to improve yourself and to improve the experience, you have to engage more and more, and automatically, in scalable processes with your guests. You mm-hmm. can't stay behind.
No, you can't. I completely agree with that. Yaniv, if people want to get in touch with you, learn more about Bridgify, maybe start going down the road of bringing you guys into their hotel, what's the best place for them to go? How do they get a hold of you?
They can reach me via email, via WhatsApp.
Okay. You're all over. You're everywhere.
I'm there. You can find me.
I'll link to both in the show notes. So if people want to get a hold of you, just head to the show notes. They'll be able to find it easily. Well, that's great. Yaniv, thanks so much for being on the show. This was a really interesting topic. And I think it would be great if hotels would explore this a little bit further and reach out to you. I think there's a lot of benefit there. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Adam. Thank you. Keep safe.
You too.
This was my episode with Yaniv Grinblat, Head of Business Development at Bridgify. You can get in touch with him at yanivg@bridgify.io or find him on LinkedIn. I'll link to his profile in the show notes. You can see the full interview on YouTube. Just search the Proven Principles Podcast. And if you want to learn more about the show, just head over to our website, theprovenprinciplespodcast.com. Finally, if you need to revamp a business strategy or just need help with a project in your hotel or restaurant, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can book a free call with me by going to knowinghospitality.com/contact. Thanks again for listening. Until next time.
For past episodes, show notes, or if you've got a story that might make a great episode, head on over to theprovenprinciplespodcast.com. We'd love to hear from you. You can subscribe to the show wherever you get your podcasts, even on YouTube. And if you haven't already, don't forget to leave us a rating and a review. Thanks for listening to the Proven Principles Podcast.